Many children are forced to grow up too fast, often without anyone noticing. This happens when parents are struggling whether with addiction, anger, emotional unavailability, or chronic stress. In these situations, children often step into adult roles to maintain stability, peace, or emotional balance. Over time, this changes how they think, feel, and relate to the world. Psychologists call this parentification, which is a role reversal where the child becomes the caregiver, peacekeeper, or emotional support for the parent instead of being cared for themselves. There are two main types. Emotional parentification happens when a child manages the parent's emotions, becomes a confidant, or takes on the role of a counselor or therapist. Instrumental parentification occurs when a child takes on adult responsibilities, like doing chores, cooking, or caring for siblings. Both types place the child in roles that should belong to adults. Even well-meaning comments can reinforce this dynamic. Children may hear things like, "You're so mature for handling that family conflict. You're wise for solving the fight between your parents. Now you know not to make the same mistakes your parents made." At first, these words feel like praise, but in reality, they teach children that their worth depends on serving others rather than being themselves. Over time, children learn to suppress their own needs, manage everyone else's emotions, and focus entirely on survival. This has deep psychological consequences. When a child is consistently placed in charge of emotional regulation, they develop hypervigilance, always scanning for danger, walking on eggshells, and learning that love is conditional. They may feel that their needs are dangerous or unimportant, while others' needs are urgent and must always be met. These survival strategies work in childhood. They help the child navigate difficult environments, but they often create problems in adulthood. Adults who grew up too fast frequently struggle with hyperindependence. They push people away, refuse help, and feel unsafe in relationships. They may overfunction, always fixing, managing, or controlling situations, because that was the way they survived as children. Setting boundaries can feel impossible, and rest or joy may feel undeserved or even frightening. The effects of growing up too fast are not only emotional, they affect the nervous system. When chaos or dysfunction is normalized early, stillness feels wrong, peace feels suspicious, and love can feel like a debt that must be repaid. Adults may achieve external success, but internally, they may feel disconnected from themselves, anxious, and unable to fully experience happiness. Healing begins not by fixing the past, but by acknowledging the child within. This involves witnessing unmet needs, validating the emotions that were suppressed, and learning to give yourself the care that was missing. Adults can begin to recognize that their maturity was never the problem. The lack of choice was. They can learn to stop managing everyone else's emotions and finally honor their own. Reparenting yourself means creating space for rest, softness, and play. It means allowing yourself to feel vulnerable without guilt. It means recognizing that emotional regulation is no longer your responsibility alone. By meeting the child within, acknowledging the survival strategies that once protected you, and slowly replacing them with self-compassion and care, it is possible to heal from the invisible grief of growing up too fast. This process is gradual. There will be moments of discomfort, grief, and anger. But these are not signs of weakness. They are signs of growth. The inner child you once buried is not broken. They were simply forced to mature too quickly. By learning to honor and nurture yourself, you reclaim the childhood that was lost and gain the ability to live as a fully present adult. Growing up too fast shapes a person, but it does not have to define them. Healing is possible. You can choose softness, care, and authenticity. You can learn to rest, play, and experience joy. And most importantly, you can finally create a life where your needs matter. Your emotions are valid, and your inner child is safe. You never had a full childhood, but you still have a future. And this time, you get to write it.